Dude, are you drunk?
Maybe.
Welcome to the Booz and Broz podcast, where hosts Matt Lytle and Chris Califf discuss everything paranormal, cryptic, horror, true crime, and of course, booze. So grab your favorite beverage and come have a drink with the Booz and Broz.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Booz and Bros podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lytle, along with...
Chris Califf.
You say it so professionally.
Well, I'm used to it, man. Like, I mean, you go by Califf for long enough that you've got to, like, one, enunciate. Chris Califf, not Callus, not Calift, not Khalif, not any of that stuff. Califf. Spelled kind of like it sounds, Kayluf. Anyway.
A lot of people call you Caleb.
Yeah.
Get that a lot too.
They all
but people don't understand. Yeah, and people don't understand that it's Califf, and that's your last name. Like, a lot of people think you're just a guy named Caleb, and you kind of look like a Caleb. So,
says the guy looks like a Kyle. Anyway.
Oh, sadly, I've gotten that before.
You gonna drink your monster? You gonna drink your monster? You drink a monster and punch some drywall? Is that what we're gonna do now, Kyle? Like, come on now.
Dude, I'm not into monsters, man. Okay, so episode 2, let's get started. We are going to be talking about the subject of good versus evil. Having said that, you guys know from episode 1 that we don't only talk about these subjects, we also drink. Our cocktail tonight, at least my cocktail tonight, is called the Good and Evil Cocktail. It's very, very simple. I have it right here. Califf, you have the Good and Evil cocktail without pineapple, I believe?
In the shot form.
In the shot form. Can we see it?
Because as we'll present yours first. We have this thing where I drink shots most of the time. Matt is more of a cocktail type of gentleman. He's more refined than I am. So.
Okay. Well, okay.
Here
we go. It smells good. So here we go. Ready?
We'll see it.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh.
And
it's got that same green finish mine does.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's Yoda. It's Yoda-like, isn't it?
Here's the thing. It looks like Shrek piss, but it works.
Shrek piss, Yoda blood, whatever. I have to add
Yoda blood. That's just messed up.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I really felt wrong saying that.
Nerd.
So what I just added was pineapple juice and Sprite. So this is 1 ounce Tito's, 1 ounce triple sec, 1 ounce Midori, shot of Midori perhaps for all you Office fans, and an ounce of apple pucker, which I was kind of light on that because I don't want it too sweet. And then of course Sierra Mist and Sprite. And pineapple juice.
It's funny, Matt.
And then you
had the pucker. How many times did I watch you pucker on TV, my friend?
That wasn't me. I
was possessed. Which brings us into the axis of today's episode, which is the concept of good versus evil.
Yes. What a good segue. So before we get into good versus evil, which I do think is going to be a very interesting topic on today's episode, I want to try it. So if you would like to hold yours up, cheers with me, Mr. Non-Pineapple.
Why does yours look like Mountain Dew now?
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
I'm like last week. I'm good with that. What you guys didn't see is as Matt brought his cup to the bottom of the screen, he switched out with a cup of Mountain Dew.
No, the reason it looks like Mountain Dew is because of the pineapple. It went from clear green to like that yellow. Now it looks like T-Rex piss.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. We should do like one of these things on movies, like the Halloween franchise or something. We should probably do that at some point.
I think, yeah, with October coming up. I mean, you're obsessed, I'm obsessed. Let's do it. I mean, who doesn't want to listen to that?
I'm not obsessed at all. Like, no part of me is obsessed with a franchise called Halloween with a guy called The Shape. Like, no part of me. But
yeah,
okay, actually, fun segue. Good place to start for good and evil is something like The Shape, right? So you've got the two reiterations of the Michael Myers character. You've got the original John Carpenter, which is supposed to be that pure evil type of just soullessness, right? But then you've got the Rob Zombie reiteration, where it's like, we're going to give him a tragic backstory, we're going to give him a past, and then you're going to kind of root for him because all the people he kills in the first act of Rob Zombie's movie are all assholes. So you're kind of just rooting for him to kill everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, obviously you and I are fans of The Shape / Michael Myers, which for those of you who don't know, he's also called The Shape. I don't root for him to kill some people, but I root for him to kill others. I root for him to reach his goals just as much as I root for Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie, or in the new Halloween, her granddaughter. That's just, it's weird because Michael Myers, The Shape, is pure evil. They say it in every single movie. What is he? He's pure evil.
Loomis kills that line.
Loomis is low-key the best character besides
Mikey. But it also brings up a primary axis for this entire episode. I mean, evil and good are all built off of perception, right? In that theory, in that thought, I root for him to kill some people, but I don't root for him to kill all people, right? Good and evil's the same way. Like, starting at that point, I mean, good and evil goes back to the beginning of recorded history, right? This is long before Angels and Demons. This is long before all that crap. This is literally the idea that inside a human being, you have that internal conflict, that one of light or of darkness. So starting there, Matt, like, when you look at the idea of good versus evil, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, you know, I thought about this, good versus evil. I think of a villain in a superhero movie, and I think of a hero in a superhero movie. That's just, I think of Captain America, Spider-Man, when I think of good and evil.
What are the first two, though? What are the first two, the first bad guy, the first good guy? What are the first two that come to your mind?
Oh, good versus, you talking about superheroes? Like,
yeah.
Good, I think Batman and Captain America. Evil, I think Thanos, because of the movies now, Avengers Endgame.
But even then, you look at somebody like Batman, for example, right? Look at Batman, a man who clearly is suffering from PTSD and all kinds of mental ailments because of the loss of his parents, grief-stricken, all that type of crap. Is what he's doing really good? Are the methods and the means he's using actually good? Look at somebody like Thanos, who was trying to wipe out half population for what? Because resources are finite, right? Mm-hmm. Again, it falls into that whole really gray area that good and evil are all based in perception. We can agree that, that mass genocide, mass death, that's bad. Bad. Nobody wants to watch another human life end, right? But in that same vein, if you knew that you could kill one person and save 1,000, would you?
That's what's crazy about Thanos is obviously you don't want him to do what he planned to do, right? But there are a lot of lines in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame where you're thinking to yourself, wow, Thanos actually has a point.
I know what it's like to lose.
Yeah. So it's like
you just said. To believe wholeheartedly and fail nonetheless. I think we can all agree at some point we have felt that. You have felt the Thanos character. You have felt that what he's doing is justified. Because what he's trying to do, I mean, in his head, in his mind, is not evil. He's trying to preserve life in the universe by getting rid of half of people. That way, resources don't run out. Now you can argue, okay, well, he could have snapped and doubled the resources or whatever have you. But all that crap aside, based on what was given to you in the movie, what he was trying to do in his own mind was good.
Right. And like you said, it's all a perception. Besides, you know, murder, genocide, all of that stuff clearly is evil. I mean, if your perception is that is not evil, I worry for you. But there's the flip side. There's good. What exactly is good, Chris? You know?
Yeah, the opposite of evil.
Well, right.
Like, realistically, you've got people, I mean, there's the old idea that nobody is truly good, right? Nobody is 110% good. I don't know about that. I believe people have noble tendencies. Like here in Oregon, for example, we're burning down. And people are banding together. People are trying to pull livestock out of the hot zones, trying to make sure people evac properly, going back and making sure that people's houses are there, or coming together with GoFundMes or things like that for people that have lost their homes. To me, that's good. To me, good is all about how you treat your fellow human, right? If you're looking out for their best interest and trying to make them happy, you said earlier when we were talking on the phone, love, compassion, respect, dignity. Those are the things that make somebody good, in my opinion.
And I'm going to have to agree with you too. On all of what you just said, I don't think there's one person, and in my opinion, besides the overall God, which is God, is 100% good. I think he made us as humans. He knows that no human is 100% pure and good. We all have sinned. I mean, I know 100% Christians that have been Christians their whole life, and they sin just as much as somebody who doesn't believe in God at all. So it goes back to, it's all a perception. But at the end of the day, love, compassion, what you do for other people, be the best person you can be. And to me, you're going to be a, quote, good person.
And that's the thing about this topic that makes it so intriguing, is that it doesn't matter how you look at it from what side of the fence, it's always debatable because of your own personality and what you define inside as good or bad, right?
Right.
What you define as good or bad might not be the same as what I define good or bad. We all define things in a different way. And that's the craziest thing about the concept of good and evil, because we all carry that inside of us, that weighing battle constantly of, it's the old saying, there's two dogs inside, right? The one that you feed is the one that's going to win. Whether it's good or bad, that's up to you.
Right. We're all individual human beings, and it's all up to us as individuals to figure that out. I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Do you think that people or a person or whoever are born evil? Are they born with a tainted soul? Or is there something in this world, whether it be a family member or what they saw at school or on the street, that makes them twist into being evil? What do you think the beginning of somebody, and I don't want to get into serial killers, but they're kind of a good example.
Right.
Are you born evil? What do you think?
Well, now you're talking about the whole nature versus nurture debate, right? Now you're talking about something that we're trying to prove, I mean, in science and all that type of stuff to this day. To me, I honestly believe wholeheartedly the outside circumstances, yes, those can form evil. But as far as being born, I don't think there's a gene for evil. Again, it falls on perception. A serial killer doesn't see what he's doing as evil. He sees it as filling an impulse. And that's when you're tracking, when you're looking for things and you're tracking serial killers, stuff like that, you have to go by that mentality. You don't get to look at it as simply like Michael Myers, for example. Okay, yeah, the root cause is he's evil, whatever have you. But when you're tracking him, you have to understand why he's doing what he's doing. You have to understand why that serial killer, what he gets out of it, what gives him pleasure out of it, what he thinks and perceives as good from what he's doing, right? Those are the big keys as far as being able to track and look at these types of things and push forward. Do I believe people are born evil, though? I believe there's a possibility for anything, but I believe more often than not, it comes via circumstances of life.
You could have something in your brain that triggers you to think killing cats isn't evil.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it has to do. It's such a topic to where I don't think you're born evil. It's more of how you were raised and your upbringing. But I do believe pure evil has to do with something in here as well, in your brain, in your mind.
Look at Star Wars, dark side, light side, right? It's easier to go dark side. It's easier to let things like hate and jealousy and all these bad things consume you and start to taint how you do things and how you want to deal with them and what you want to do. It's very easy. But to be good, it takes a standard set of morals. You have to practice them when nobody's looking. You have to put in the work. So it's easier for people to find evil because it's easier to fall into. As where good is more work. Like anything in life, unless you work out, twice a day, every day? You have to put in the work you know what I'm saying? Look at that tight t-shirt. Come on now. All perky and beautiful. Look at that.
Continue. Get out of here.
But the idea being that you have to work for good in anything. Good results with your body, with your health. All that type of stuff, you have to work for good. Evil? You don't. Evil's the easy route. Evil's I'm going to be a dick just because I don't want to sit here and have to take the time to go through my own feelings. It's so much easier to cross that threshold into evil than it is to ever think about being good because it's the easy route. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I've never really looked at it that way. I mean, okay, take an example, you going into work. You can go into work. How much easier would it be to be in a pissed off mood and ignore everybody and just be mad at everybody than to carry that positive attitude, positive energy walking in? It takes double, if not triple the amount to be positive. Why is that? Why is us human beings? Why is it so much harder to be a good person, to be positive and to talk about it and to tweet about it than to be negative, depressed, mean to your roommates, to your coworkers? Why is it so much harder as us human beings? I don't understand.
Because anything good comes with work. Anything good comes with work. And we live in a society and such a day and age where everybody is so in love with the idea of convenience, right? Convenience to anything. Let's have our peanut butter and jelly mixed in the same jar because we can't be bothered to open 2 different jars, right? Let's have the all the information in the world on our phones, and then let's still spread misinformation. People don't want to do the work. That's the biggest thing that's lacking in today, is that people don't want to do the work. And that's why evil, like nowadays especially, is so prevalent. From the White House down, like all around the world, the idea of evil is rampant because nobody wants to do the work to be good. And everybody thinks that they can just call themselves good, and I'm gonna stomach that shit. We've worked with people that claimed they were hands down good, all about good, and nothing about them was good. Down to their soul smelled like sulfur. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they patronize others for being evil because they challenge them. They challenge them to actually put the work in, to move forward, to do things with that better, that good, that lighter mindset, and then you're suddenly a bad guy. Things are so backwards right now. People being evil is looked at as good, and those who are doing good are looked at as though they're evil.
Right.
So I just want to tangent.
I want to take a quick pause real quick and let's comment on our drinks. I am about halfway done.
I'm getting there. I'm sipping.
I wanted to sip, but it's damn good. I will say, I think I should have put a little less pineapple in it and a little more vodka.
I can't complain. Like it versus last week's, this is tenfold.
Versus our ghosted cocktail.
That ghosted cocktail was probably the most awful thing I've ever had to consume.
My stomach hurt after last cocktail, the ghosted cocktail. This one I know I won't. This one I know was good because I made it before and it was perfect for this episode. Okay, so we've talked about kind of humans and the good and the evil. I kind of want to get into more of the supernatural part of it. Let's talk about negative energy. Let's just talk about negative energy, literally negative energy. What is your experience with these negative energies when you've hunted the paranormal? And what do you think they are?
So you die, you find yourself dead, you wake up. Here you are still here. First thought's gonna be, what the fuck is happening right now, right? Then years turn into decades, decades turn into centuries, so forth, so on. What happens to a soul? What happens to that energy after being, like, think about souls that are here now, that are being infected by all this negativity that's pouring in, right? It's gonna twist something. That's gonna break something in them. And I think that's where negative energy, a lot of it is, if it's not born, that's where it's created. I believe in 3 things: positive energy, negative energy, and like blank energy, essentially, right? And I believe that again, nature versus nurture. I believe that whatever it's in contact with. Oh, excuse me, I got a buzz going on. This is rad. God, I love this podcast.
Wait, how far are we into this? I can't even tell, but I know we're not too far into it.
I'm happy right now. That's all I got to say. Anyway, but
positive energy.
What is it? Woosa. Anyway, but moving forward, what it boils down to me is that my experience with negative energy, I believe it's things that have been corrupted and twisted. I mean, whether it be ghost hunters going out with Ouija boards, pretending like they know what they're doing, saying the wrong words for them, acting like they're exorcists, going in there thinking that saying, by the name of God, you will leave. It's actually going to leave. No, you're just going to piss it off. You're going to corrupt this energy more. And that, to me, is what we deal with. We deal with the remnants of people acting like assholes and being stupid. And then, like, even I'm susceptible to it. I get mouthy back when we're doing, a spirit box session or whatever have you. I get mouthy back because I take no shit. So I can only imagine that these things get to the point where they don't take any shit either. I think that mentality can shift any energy from a neutral standpoint or a good standpoint to a darker area. I think negative energy can be created, but I think in most cases, especially like what we see in a day, like when we're on a hunt and we're out there working, I think most of the negative stuff that we see is stuff that has been corrupted over time, yes.
So I agree. I do think that that's a very good possibility. Talk about it. You just made a face after drinking.
Oh, that was good.
Again.
That just hit me right here in the heart, and now I feel like I have one. So,
wow. There's no way I'm taking that out of this podcast.
Come on.
So
chug it, Matt.
I'm not gonna chug it because I need to go make another if I do.
You know that when I'm done, I've got to go straight to vodka, right?
Yes, we all know that. This is episode 2, and
Sweet.
Everyone listening already knows that. And on our website, your bio says favorite drink, Tito's vodka. So I think that negative energy is born from either an evil person or a crime that happened. Take Houston, episode 2. No. Sorry, our pilot episode, Houston. The energy in that house, to me, was very negative. It obviously affected myself with the scratch or burning on my neck. Chris had to leave. Chris Starr, she had to leave the house. She's an empath as well. We both sat there on the porch and talked about the just aftermath, the rebound of that crime that happened in the 1920s, that murder that happened was stuck in that house, and it created that negative energy. I think that man who beat his girlfriend in that same house time after time after time, which obviously got what he deserved. Wow. Ooh, truth comes out. Which she killed him.
Well, if you're gonna spend a lifetime beating your old lady, double tapping you in the back of the head is the least she can do. Like, that guy was kind of a dick. She kind of got what was coming to him. Like, I agree.
Yeah. So that's a perfect example of what I think negative energy is. I think it's an event that happened in a place. I think, okay, perfect example. You walk into a kitchen where a husband and wife just had a really, really, really bad fight. They walked into other rooms. You walk into the kitchen not knowing there was a fight. What do you feel? You don't have to be an empath to feel it. You know something just went down. You're like, oh, what's that feeling? Like, I feel like something's off. That, to me, is also negative energy. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It's just energy in general. When you go to a Starbucks and the guy in front of you is yelling at, the person making their coffee. Once that guy leaves, his energy, that whole situation sticks. And to me, that is negative energy. But on the flip side, we can talk about positive energy. When I see, we'll take that Starbucks example, a woman tip $10 to the person making their coffee, and that person's happy and you're up next, you feel that positive, that happiness, that energy. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I carry myself going into work, talking to you, talking to roommates, whatever it is. I try to carry myself with a very positive energy, very happy, smiley energy, because if not, people can feel that shit and it can affect their day. It can affect their week. And to me, there's just no reason not to be a positive person. I get it. Stuff happens in life. Stuff sucks financially, stuff getting canceled, you getting fired, your sports team losing, whatever it is. It's like that negative energy, get rid of it. Get rid of it, because you're going to create it and make it more negative, or you can flip it to be positive. So that's what I think that type of energy is.
Think how infectious that is,
Okay.
Dude's
Yes.
sport team loses. He's in a pissed off mood. He goes to the convenience store to get a pack of cigarettes, takes out on the cashier. Cashier goes home, takes out on his wife. His wife goes to work, takes out on somebody else. Look how that shit travels. And good doesn't do that. And that concerns me. Good never carries on the way that bad does. And again, it falls into that work. Like you just said, you have to put it in work to be able to shake that shit off and do it the right way. You have to. Yeah. And that's the beauty of what you were saying, but it all falls back to that principle, right? In order to do good and have any kind of good, you have to put in work. Look at me, for example. Matt, when I was a walking fucking mess, my head was jumbled, all type of shit sideways. I'm medicated now, and doing the good and doing that work is worth it now, because I can see that. So you have all these people that are dealing with all this evil in the world, the fucking COVID and all the other shit that's happening. They don't want to find the silver lining. They don't want to put in the work for that. They want to assume that they're just going to be pissed off and grumpy. And I can relate to that. It's easier to do.
Yeah.
And that's the shitty part. Let me ask you this question. I want to ask you this, and specifically ask you because you have the feelers and the empathness, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that it's so much easier to find evil in what we do in the paranormal realm, and so much easier to find evil than good?
Because of what you've been saying. Evil, negativity is passed on way easier. It's on this earth more than positivity is. From humans, from darker spirits, hell, even from demons. It's easier to be here, it stays here, and it works its negative magic around. That's why that's so much easier. How many times have you walked into a location that's supposed to be super haunted and you're like, oh my God, the energy's gorgeous. I love the spirits here. This is amazing.
Very few and far between.
Very, very few. And of course, you go into a place, abandoned place, such as a jail, hospital, whatever you have, or you go into a residential place. The difference between those is the abandoned places, you're automatically expecting negative energy. So it's in your head. And so you go in and you spute negative energy. You don't go into a jail and are like, hey, everybody, what's going on? You're like, who the fuck is it? That's just naturally how humans are. Well, ghost hunters, they're weird as well.
We're kind of assholes.
But
you realize that we're kind of assholes.
We are assholes. Ghosts hate ghost hunters. If I was a ghost, I would rather have somebody who has no idea that we're there walk in and be like, ugh, than
if
ghost
you were
hunters.
If you were a ghost, in the idea of the perception of good and evil, if you were a ghost, how would you view a ghost hunter?
I would say, here's what I would say. I would say, you know what? I give you credit for trying to find out what happens when we die, because I'm dead and I know. And I know that you don't know. As a human being, you don't know.
No. I'm not letting you get away with a cheesy answer on this one. I want you to be straight. If you were a ghost,
I am.
And some asshats like us came in to investigate, would you think they were good or evil?
Well, you didn't. As a spirit, would I think that these ghost hunters are good or evil? I wouldn't think either. Yeah. I would just think they're assholes.
Let me ask you this. In all of your life, in all the hunts you've done, all the things that you've dealt with, all the people and so forth you've dealt with, when's the last time you remember going on a hunt and you dealt with something that was of the, not even good, the divine nature? That's a long silence, brother. I'll tell you the story. A couple years back, probably about 5 years ago, we went on a hunt in a cemetery, and we were sitting there and we saw this white glow over a tombstone. And we're like, are we seeing a ghost, a lady in white? What are we looking at, right? And this sense of peace washed over us. It was me and a friend I don't even have anymore, because ghost hunting actually ended up turning us away from being friends. And we walked up this tombstone. It was this old lady who'd been dead for about 3 years. And we said that we talked to her for a few minutes. We just talked where this thing was. And then we felt like this light illuminate. And for like 3 days after that, we were totally at peace, like walking on cloud nine. Was that an angel? Was that a good spirit? Whatever it was, it left me in such a peaceful place. It was unreal. So for me, I've had experiences in the good, the really good, not just the bad, but the really good as well. And I can say that even though evil runs rampant, just for that moment of being in that light, just for that blippet of a second, was possibly one of the greatest feelings I've ever had.
Let's go there. Let's go to our experiences with the darkest of the dark and the lightest of the light. Let's go deep.
Well, you got my light, so you want my dark. I mean, my dark was plastered over national television. My dark was taking something that I did 3 years ago and having to match it with a young man that was dealing with something that was using his against him. You know, I had to go against not just a negative influence, a negative energy, if you will, but I had to save a kid and somehow save myself. That there's no worse feeling of helplessness or evil when you know that the one mistake that you made that will haunt you for the rest of your life is right there. And like, you can't script this shit. You know this. We were sitting there off camera when he told us what his date was.
Mm-hmm.
When we were told that in Utah, like, that was not something that was fucking scripted. So that was probably the closest to something that I knew wanted my soul that I've ever been a part of. Because that thing, I felt like in every way, shape, or form, that thing was mocking me. Whether it be the suicide date, the fact that it was about suicide, the fact that, it was a big crescendo for other people. I felt like in any way that thing could hit me on a personal level, it did. Through every single avenue. And that was the closest to being drugged down by some negative entity that I've ever been a part of. And I've seen some pretty evil shit, but nothing beats just how clever that thing was.
And by saying that thing, just want to clarify to the audience, you're talking about episode 8 of Ghost Loop, when we went to Utah, and out of nowhere, we got the note that this thing could be possibly demonic. And so what you're saying is that was a demon, and that was one of the most intense situations you've been in.
Matt, you know me. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Very, very, very spiritual, but I'm not religious. I believe in a God. I believe in the organized religion God. Jury's out. But I believe in a God. But on that, beyond that, what we dealt with in that place, I have never encountered anything like that in my life. Ever. Not since, and not before. So I would say that if there was such a thing as demons or a hell or all that type of stuff, which I very much don't believe there are, because it dates back. I mean, to the jinn in the Quran before demons were even a thing. I believe that if I was ever face to face with true evil, it was in that place.
I mean, I believe in demons, man. And I'm going to agree with you. I do think that episode, that location, the episode didn't even show all. You know what I mean? We were there for a week. You were living in hell for a week. It wasn't just you were living in hell for a day. And, I know you very well. That was our almost last week filming. So I know how you were on cases that we did with our Ghost Loop team and our crew. And I mean, it's still hard for me to even talk about. I mean, I sat there in the kitchen when we were talking about you leaving because this demon is calling you out, literally. And I remember sitting there and I had the feeling of not wanting to talk. I wanted to punch everyone in the face for you. I wanted to cry. I didn't want to film the rest of the episode. And that was me. That is how powerful I believe this demon was. Not only did it make you go to the hospital, make you have to stay in your hotel room 3 of the 4 days we were filming, it got to your best friend on the team. Yep. That is what these demonic entities, this dark evilness can do. It doesn't just affect one person. It affects everyone that person cares about. And in my opinion, that is true evil.
I had to walk away from that hunt because it was best for my team. I could have stayed there and got my ass whooped and got some of the best evidence ever and probably not given a shit. But what was best for everybody else's safety was for me to exit stage left. Does that make me a pussy in some people's eyes? Sure. I could give a fuck less. But if I can keep the people that I care about safe, then I did the good thing. In my perception, I did the good thing.
In my perception, you did a great thing. Not good, you did a great thing. And that was a pure example of you could have gone evil and you could have stayed and you could have got me hurt. You could have got yourself hurt. You could have got our showrunner hurt, Chris Starr hurt, but you didn't do the evil, you did the good. And you didn't do it for yourself. You did it for your team, your crew, and everyone that was there. Yeah, I mean,
cheers.
Whew.
Cheers to going to hell and back, brother. Cheers to going to hell and back.
I'm gonna do it again. So guys, good versus evil. I know it got deep. I knew it was gonna get deep when we decided to do this, especially for episode 2.
That's what she said.
That was a good one. I did hear you.
It got deep. How deep? It got so deep, put your ass to sleep. Anyway.
Oh, God. Okay, so we're not going to end it like that. I'm going to finish my drink this time.
Do it.
Oh, that's so good. Dude, I might make another one. It was sweet, but I think I'm down.
Do it.
I always just say I carry myself with a positive attitude, positive energy, no matter what. I don't ever let that evil side of life get too far into my brain, into my heart, into my soul. I want to make sure that I pass that vibe on to everyone I'm around, everyone I'm talking to, girlfriend, friends, roommates, best friends, parents. And I would say the same to you guys.
I have to say the advice you gave is the best advice. For the first time I keep my mouth shut and say that, you crushed it. That's the best possible way to look at it, brother. And I'm proud to call you my brother. I know that's how you do it. And that's the vibe you give on to other people.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's it for episode 2, guys. It got deep. That's what she said. But we're feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling good too with whatever you guys drink.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Booz and Broz. It's been a great evening. Another great cocktail. We'll catch you again next week with some more stuff.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good one, guys.